I just mean that it's no longer 1937.
Disney's live-action Snow White has stirred up controversy once again. But this time, the debate isn't just about woke casting, race-swapped characters, or feminist rewrites. No, this time we're diving into something far deeper. Did Disney erase an entire community in an attempt to be more progressive?
It's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It's not Snow White and the seven normal-sized humans like every other movie.
Tell her to get out!
Please don't send me away. If you do, she'll kill me.
Peter Dinklage single-handedly take away acting opportunities from dwarf actors who rely on these roles?
There's a lot of hypocrisy going on, I gotta say, from being
And most importantly, is Hollywood's representation of little people improving or actually getting worse?
What they're doing is pretty much you're replacing jobs that people could have as little people.
Buckle up, grab your popcorn, and get ready for a wild ride through Hollywood's most controversial double standard. Before we dive in, smash that like button, subscribe to Crucial Post for more deep dives, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on the next story. So, let's start with what set the internet on fire. Disney cast The Hunger Games, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes star Rachel Zegler as Snow White, sparking immediate backlash. Why? Because many argued that Snow White, by definition, is supposed to have skin as white as snow. Now, let's be real. The real problem isn't just race. It's the way Hollywood weaponizes diversity for marketing while completely ignoring authenticity when it suits them. And before people say, well, Zegler's dad is Polish, so technically, that's not the point. The real issue? Hollywood picking and choosing when accuracy matters. Look at The Little Mermaid.
Sebastian, if you had just seen it up there.
The internet exploded over Halle Bailey playing Ariel. But at the same time, movies like Oppenheimer get away with erasing entire historical communities without anyone blinking an eye. The Snow White controversy is part of that bigger pattern, where race gets the headlines, but behind the scenes, a more important discussion about representation is ignored. Here's where things get even messier. Disney removed the original Seven Dwarfs and replaced them with magical creatures. Why? Because Game of Thrones star Peter Dinklage publicly called out Snow White for being outdated and backward in its depiction of dwarfism.
Well, you know, it's really progressive to cast literally no offense to anything, but I was a little taken back by they're very proud to cast a Latino actress as Snow White.
Yeah.
But you're still telling the story of Snow White.
Yeah.
Seven Dwarfs.
Sure.
Look, take a step back and look at what you're doing there.
Yeah.
I know, that makes no sense to me.
Now, let's pause for a second. If you agree with Dinklage, that's totally valid. But here's where this gets controversial. Many actual actors with dwarfism, the very people Disney claimed to be protecting, spoke out against this decision. They said that removing the Seven Dwarfs didn't help them. It actually took away job opportunities in an industry where roles for people with dwarfism are already rare.
Because of all the AI and all that like SAG and the Writers Guild are going through. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, it's for dwarfs. You know?
Take actor Dylan Postal, known for playing Hornswoggle in WWE. He openly criticized the move, saying that dwarf actors depend on roles like these, and by trying to be progressive, Disney actually did more harm than good.
Disney, reach out to me. I will take every dwarf role you want. It could be Snow White and 25 dwarves. I have 24 friends in the dwarf community that would do these roles. That's the issue here.
And this isn't just about Snow White. Hollywood has a history of ignoring dwarf actors while casting average height actors in their roles using CGI or camera tricks.
Too late. I've started dancing now.
Think about Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, 2023. Hugh Grant plays an Oompa Loompa with CGI instead of hiring actual dwarf actors.
The other day was the Wonka movie. And Hugh Grant is now playing an Oompa Loompa. So I guess, Hugh Grant, you're now identifying as a little person.
The Hobbit trilogy. Most of the dwarves were played by regular height actors with effects. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Warwick Davis was one of the only dwarf actors in a movie filled with dwarf characters. So ask yourself, is this real inclusivity or just performative activism? Let's talk double standards. Hollywood pushes inclusivity when it's convenient, but ignores it when it doesn't serve their interests. If studios really cared about proper representation, we'd see more authentic casting for disabled actors instead of hiring able-bodied stars. More disabled leads in blockbuster films, not just side characters or comic relief. more accurate historical storytelling without whitewashing or erasing key figures. But instead, we get pick-and-choose representation. Think about Black Panther. Marvel took the time to properly celebrate African culture. But when it comes to Native American or Asian representation, suddenly the same effort isn't there. Think about Coda, the Oscar-winning film about a deaf family. The industry loved the story, but how often do we see actual deaf actors in lead roles? When Hollywood really wants representation, they get it right. But when they don't, they just tweak the story, call it progress, and move on. This isn't about wokeness or anti-wokeness. It's about consistency. So, what's the solution? Should Disney have stuck with the classic Seven Dwarfs? Or should they have reimagined the characters in a way that actually helped dwarf actors? Here's an idea. What if the Seven Dwarfs were reimagined with depth and real character arcs, rather than being played for laughs? What if Disney actually consulted dwarf actors and communities, instead of listening to just one celebrity voice? What if we got more original stories about characters with disabilities, rather than remakes that erase them? At the end of the day, no one was asking for this change. No one said, hey, remove the dwarfs. Disney made this move on their own, and now they're dealing with the backlash. The real question, who is Hollywood trying to please? At the end of the day, who are these changes really for? Most dwarf actors wanted the Seven Dwarfs to stay. Fans wanted a faithful adaptation. So who is Disney really trying to please? Was this about real representation, or was this just corporate virtue signaling? This is where audience feedback matters. If studios keep making these decisions without listening to the people affected, they'll keep getting backlash. And if you think this only affects fantasy movies, think again. The same pattern happens with historical movies: Oppenheimer, Cleopatra, Exodus. Disability representation, LGBTQ+ stories. If Hollywood wants real change, they need to listen to actual communities, not just celebrities with influence. And that brings us to the final point. Why are we even getting another live-action remake? Disney's track record with remakes is, let's just say, not great. The Lion King, 2019. Visually stunning but lifeless. Mulan, 2020. Removed key characters, flopped hard. The Little Mermaid, 2023. Good lead actress, but CGI fish ruined it. Fans are tired of these soulless, cash-grab remakes. Instead of giving us fresh, bold storytelling, Disney keeps playing it safe. And let's be honest, if Snow White bombs at the box office, Disney will probably blame toxic fans instead of their own uninspired filmmaking. So, what do you think? Did Disney make the right call by changing the Seven Dwarfs? Or do you think this is another case of Hollywood missing the point? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you made it this far, hit that like button and subscribe to Crucial Post for more deep dives like this. See you in the next one.